Mattie McGrath.
Cormac Gutter, Cater, she is. I want to congratulate Minister McGrath, his first budget. Delighted his wife and 7 children were here to listen. But it's a failed opportunity. A typical accountant's budget, just move the figures around and manage them. Minister Donohoe has said that it was a great country to be in to be a child. Goodness gracious, what's he thinking about? How could he say this? It couldn't be further from the truth. Certainly not reality for our children with additional needs. Our disability services are failing in every aspect. Our children can't get essential therapies, speech and language, occupational therapy. They wait years for assessment with little or no hopes available. Our children are mental health, no CAMS teams. We know what happened in the Kerry CAMS teams. The whole situation regarding, disabilities. Our children, young children especially, and everybody with disabilities is suffering. Minister Rabbit promised in May that if people didn't get assessment by August 1st, the assessment wasn't operational, she would pay for them herself. No sign of that in this budget today. Empty promises again from this minister. It's shocking. The measures introduced today do not come close to meeting the needs of people with disabilities. There has been no mention of the parity and preventing the impending strike of the Section 39s. And that's a huge issue. So you had a cul-de-sac here, or bags over your heads that you don't know what's going on. Or have you all gone into the new kitchen, test out the cuisine? Someone said there was going to be Christmas dinner there tomorrow. You're like turkeys voting for Christmas here. You think this is going to save you, but it's not. The mental health, as I said, services. Today marks World Mental Health Day, which and Minister acknowledged, or didn't acknowledge, or state where the funding of 115 million is in his budget. Into the big cannibalised HSE funding that we cannot get any services for mental health out of that. A failed entity in its entirety and is carrying on there as well. USC. We wanted in our pre-budget submission USC to be abolished. Why? It was introduced back in 2010 as a temporary measure. Temporary little measure. I remember the man whose portrait is up on the wall today said that one time. Temporary little arrangement. The Brian Cowan. USC should have been abolished. Your Taoiseach promised, now Taoiseach promised this in 2016. If re-elected, he'd abolish USC. What kind of hollow promises are theirs? USC is a savage tax introduced as a temporary measure, as I said, during the financial crisis. And here we are so many years later, and we reduce it by a miserly 0.5%. USC costs an average working couple almost €50 per week. That's 2,600 annually. Our ordinary working families are being fleeced, and this needed to be at least halved as a minimum of today. On top of the minimum 5% reduction, 0.5% reduction of USC, they're going to have to pay 1% extra in PRSI. So it's a trick of the loop anywhere you go. Like you put into a dolly mixture, into a cement mixer, mix it all up, and churn out the nice bits. Carbon taxes. Minister, the price of diesel now stands at €190, 1.90 per litre. While you have delayed this excise duty, you will press ahead with carbon tax, introducing further 2.5% on diesel and 2.1 on petrol tonight. We have an amendment down, I know Sinn Féin also have, to stop this, because this is a regressive tax. Carbon tax regime is just more regressive on rural dwellers. Our rural citizens in Ireland have no option but to drive their cars, to continue to go to work or to college or to attend appointments and to live literally. And we continue to penalise them as though they had a choice. They have no choice. And when Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are doing this at the behest of the Greens, I think it's an awful attack on rural citizens. And the cost of living energy, this budget needed to reduce the cost of living. While the energy credits are welcome, and of course they're welcome, we are not tackling the spiralling costs of living, the cost of living, high costs. Once-off payments are okay, but that just won't cut it. And you won't tackle the energy companies with the highest price of fuel in Europe, the highest price of electricity and gas in Europe, when there's nearly double some of those countries. So what is wrong here that you won't tackle the conglomerates or the big businesses? All the persons an increase of €12. Goodness sake, same as last year. We look for 30. We thought they'd get at least 20. You know what €12 extra will do for the older people, pensioners and people with disabilities. Quite literally nothing. Carers allowance, well, we welcome the disregard increase. However, it didn't go far enough. We are going to, why are we still going to means test all these carers? And the valuable work to do with keeping loved ones and sick people out of hospitals. And again, we have so many child carers, the children who were providing care to their loved ones or parents. That is a shocking situation, bordering on exploitation. It's disgraceful. Childcare, the reduction in childcare fees is certainly welcome for payments, but the payments will be little use if you won't deal with the core funding. We're seeing our rural creches and small town, the creches there, small operators have been there, given good employment, given top-class childcare, and they're not being listened to either. They have a huge problem with the core funding, one size fits all. Our health services, what can we say to health services? A definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. My God, 22.5 billion. Can't identify how much is for mental health. We're going to hire more nurses. We're going to hire hundreds of more. We're going to get hundreds of more beds. Where are we going to get the nurses from? Our nurses that we have are leaving us and going to far off shores. And there's not a mention in we're taught out about the free GP care for so many other age groups. We haven't the GPs. We can't get them, and you won't give anything to support them or keep them. So, as I said, an increase of 20 million increase in Garda operational funding is welcome. As I said, the Gardaí need to be supported, and it's not only today. And I saw Commissioner Harris was in around the House today. He should come in more often and listen to your backbenchers and us who support the Gardaí and who want to get respect for the Gardaí. But the overtime bill, what will that do? It'll bring people from County Tipperary, I meet them, up here on overtime, living in dirt and more opportunities for lawlessness in our areas. So it's another con job. As I said, agriculture. God, you nearly forgot about it. I mean, agriculture now, your main aim, thanks to the Greens, is demonising and literally attacking farmers day in, day out. You won't look at the pollution caused by local authorities, public authorities and industry, but you'll get the EPA, one of your agencies, to do a report that's not honest, are not straightforward, are not fair, and they will look at their own issue at all. So agriculture expected some meaningful supports today in cattle and sheep. We didn't get it. So our primary industry is reduced to this. It should be top of the agenda to keep food on the tables, keep work on our families and keep families on the land. But Budget 24 has failed to recognise farming for the vital industry that it is. As I said, retrofitting and 90 million for social housing is welcome. But there's 24-hour delays. There's 1,500 or odd waiting in Tipperary for this retrofitting, and there's only 190 of them done. Waiting 24 months, you know the scheme is not working. You know it with a long time that it's not working. So why are you not changing the scheme and putting more funding into it? You talk about the carbon tax, that the money goes back into that. It doesn't, and that's totally untrue. Education. Some very welcome measures in relation to college fees and support for families. The announcement of over 1,200 new SNA posts. However, without improvements in their pay and conditions, I suspect we will continue not to have them because they'll vote with their feet, it won't be there. I also welcome the situation regarding the IT grant for schools to buy new equipment. That was expected last year. A 60 million increase there in grants for schools is welcome. But some aspects of the budget today, you were talking about implementing in the budget in 2025. Why do you have to play with the figures and play mind games with people and tell them they'll have money in 2025? Also, I want to put these figures on the record here, Minister, and I'm not anti-Ukraine, don't get me wrong, but Minister for Expenditure's report lists 2024 expenditure ceiling of 96.6 billion. The government will spend in 2024 gifted 6 billion of taxpayers' money to NGOs in this budget, so that the activists can use that money to ask government to implement what legislation it wants. The figure increases year on year on. Don't have to look for it, it increases. Earlier this year, 5.5 billion was set aside for spending on the Ukrainian situation. The budget signs away 225 million a year taxpayers' money to be sent overseas to help third world countries fight climate change, on foot of a promise made to Europe to do so for 4 years. That's another billion. So that's, I count, 11% of the whole pot of money today is put outside the reach of ordinary families, put aside the reach of sick children, put aside the reach of pensioners, put aside the reach of as I said, carers, and is spent on fantasy projects with this mushrooming industry of the NGOs and funding for this war in Ukraine, which we have to check and have balances. I all the time say we have to have a cap on the number of refugees. We can't just continue down a cul-de-sac. So 11% of funding, our people won't see it at all. None of our people, young from the cradle to the grave, won't see that funding, any cent of it. So putting that much money away at your disposal today, just to be the good buys in Europe, just to support our international friends and to behest the IMF and others. I don't know whose behest it is, but our primary duty is to look after our people from the cradle to the grave. You have failed miserably in this government. You haven't respected them or told them how you would respect them in the future. So, as I said, it's like it's a shower of snow falling in Mattie McGrath's leafy constituency in Cork, beside the sea. It'll be gone off with the first ray of sunshine. Same with this. Thank you.